Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today's Tuesday, October 1st. Can you believe it? And we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Well, I will say good morning to my fellow commissioners. Good morning, Commissioner Olson.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell. Very nice morning indeed.
It is a beautiful morning, and I can't believe it's October already. And good morning, Commissioner Scar.
Good morning.
We're missing Eric Swanson not only this morning, but for the next 3 weeks, actually. So we can jump right in with the Coastal Caucus and Senator Weber. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be back.
Welcome back.
I'm sorry I missed you. Sorry I missed you guys last week, but I was busy. In fact, I don't think I had time to take a deep breath all week long because it was 3 days of legislative work and 2 days of an advancement conference. And then we had to have our drafts for all of our bills turned in by Friday. And there was a big rush during the whole week because there were things that we hadn't acknowledged yet that we had to work on. And so it was a very busy week. And then I also went to the Joint Transportation Commission's last hearing in Hillsborough because I felt it was necessary since the meeting they had here in Tillamook County was a long time ago in meeting time. And so I felt that they needed to be reminded of some of the challenges that we're facing on the coast, especially with our bridges and our roads, Highway 6, 30, 26, and 101. And so I took my 2 minutes of time, which is what we were allotted, to testify to the needs before the Transportation Commission. So there will be a transportation bill coming forward, and we may not like all of what's in it, but ODOT has some financial problems that they need to alleviate. And so gas taxes may be part of it. And I have no idea what that number is going to be, what they have settled on, but there will definitely be a lot of opinions on it. Then on Saturday, I attended a fundraiser for a group called Dual Diagnosis and Dual Diagnosis Anonymous. And they had a fundraiser at the bowling alley. And if any of you haven't gone to the bowling alley and seen what a vibrant addition that is to the community, you really need to go and take a look. Dual Diagnosis is something that I just wrote something down here, and then of course I went off and left it on another place. But anyway, look into that. Those people are working very hard, especially to address the issues of addiction and mental health. And that's what we talk about when we talk about Dual Diagnosis. And they're a very welcoming group, and they have helped a lot of people. They've been around since 1996, but look into them and look into supporting them because they are doing good work. Then on Saturday night, I attended the Reagan Dinner, which is, I think it was the 10th annual Reagan Dinner, and I've been to about 4 of them. And this was very inspiring because Riley Gaines, the woman athlete, the swimmer from Kentucky, was the keynote speaker. And what she had to say about Title IX and women's sports was very enlightening. And so because there is an effort to rewrite Title IX, which will impact women's sports especially, I think we all need to, once again, take heed and pay attention because we need to be continuing to protect our women's rights, especially in the sports field. Now, when I was here 2 weeks ago, I said to you that there was going to be a hunger task force listening session that did not materialize, unfortunately. I think there was illness, and I didn't get the message about it until just before it was to happen. They have rescheduled that listening session for tomorrow. And so what they're doing is inviting people to come and talk and contribute concerning what hunger is, how hunger is impacting our area specifically. They have done a number of these hearings around the state, and they are gaining a lot of information on it. But we in Tillamook have the opportunity to go and express what we feel is the most important aspects of how hunger is impacting our area tomorrow, 5:30 to 7:30, and it's at the Herald Center for Food and Clothing. Now, I don't know if you know where that is, but you know where the Adventist Church is, and it's right beside the Adventist Church in the area of the tiny homes over there. And I think it would behoove you, if you have concerns about this, to be present, to add your voice to the Hunger Task Force. This is something I have been a part of for the last 2 years, and it is at the governor's behest, and it will continue to go forward and work towards making sure that people have adequate food. It's just another aspect of what we need to look at as far as the health of our state. So right now I'm going to be leaving because I am going to Vancouver because it's the Northwest Pulp and Paper Association annual meeting, and I've been asked to be a part of a panel because we have an important pulp mill in our area, up on Highway 30, in the Wana area, and that mill provides our toilet paper and our paper towels to Costco, and it is basically we're down to not very many of these mills, but the number of jobs that this provides and the amount of toilet paper it provides for our nation is astonishing. And it's one of those things that we need to also continue to support and protect. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. And the rest of the week, I'm going to be working on meetings with constituents and lobbyists over potential bills that are coming forward. And I wanted to tell you about one particularly interesting bill that is being proposed and that is going forward, and that is a group of students who is working on a bill to have school start no earlier than 8:30 every morning. One of the issues that we're coming up against with chronic absenteeism is the inability for kids to get to school on time. There's the inability of kids to have transportation if they miss the bus. So what these students are asking is that we make a state law that school does not start before 8:30 in the morning. So if you have opinions on that, let me know. Think about it. Think about the pros and the cons, because the students have worked out a comprehensive list of how that can impact positively the ability of kids to be in school. And I've told you before that we have 30% chronic absenteeism within our state, and it's something that we have to work on diligently. And the governor is very concerned about getting our kids back in school. So there you go. I could probably talk on and on and on, but I won't, because I said I'd keep it short. So have a great day. And if you have concerns, let me know. But remember the Hunger Task Force listening session tomorrow night. Okay? Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thanks for telling us about the Hunger Task Force listening session. I think that's really important work because it impacts so much, and particularly children. And I think it's fascinating what you just said about kids proposing legislation that school not start before 8:30. And I was remembering when my son was in school, and he was never a morning person, and it was hard for him to get up. And he's a reader, and so he would bring me articles about how science has shown that children's brains don't work very well in the morning, and that he had a lot of articles about it, and they were compelling. They were compelling articles that it takes kids a while to wake up and get going, and the statistics about how often they fail or don't do well in early morning classes compared to later classes, etc. So it was compelling, but it didn't mean that I could change the time of his classes for him. So I think it's worthwhile having the conversation with him.
Yeah. They've been working on this for quite some time, and they feel that they have the support to go forward with it.
Well, good for them. Good for them for getting involved. Do we have any questions for the Senator? If not, we'll say thank you. Wonderful to have you back.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back.
And let's move on to Representative Javity. Are you with us this morning? Well, if not, we can move on to Tillamook County Community Health Center.
And good morning, Commissioner, and good morning, Tillamook County. It's Ed with the Health Department.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. We're halfway through Hispanic Heritage Month. Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th through October 15th. This time is dedicated to celebrating Hispanic people and the vibrant culture of Central and Latin American nations. Whether you yourself are Hispanic or you have friends and loved ones who are, it is important to be aware of how your background impacts your health. Many factors outside of genetics or lifestyle affect our health, such as socioeconomic status, structural racism, access to care, cultural values, and more. It's important to be aware of these risks and get regular wellness exams and to see a provider if you have new or worsening symptoms. Tillamook County Community Health Centers is committed to supporting and providing services to all people, regardless of language, race, ethnicity, religion, gender, or sexual orientation, to support equitable access to care. The health center has qualified and certified interpreters, as well as bilingual staff that can help you with care coordination and navigating health insurance for both OHP and Marketplace. Celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month by taking charge of your health. Please give us a call, 503-842-3900 to schedule. Take advantage of our wellness exam incentive program by having your visit before the end of the year for a promotional gift card opportunity. Celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month by taking charge of your health. Community walk-in vaccine clinics are coming up. The first clinic is on October 21st at the Tillamook Fairgrounds and run until November 7th in all areas of the county. You can find more information and additional dates on our website or Facebook page. The vaccine clinics will have the flu shot and the updated mRNA COVID-19 booster, both available for those 6 months old and older. The pneumonia vaccine is also available for those 65 years old and older. Along with our vaccine clinics, at our November 5th clinic from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the fairgrounds, Tillamook County Wellness will be hosting a health literacy fair complete with a free meal, resources, vaccine services, and more. And then on November 6th, that clinic is also at the fairgrounds from 11 to 7 p.m. and will host our Spanish Focus Clinic, complete with a Spanish resource fair, interpretation, vaccination services, and more. So please mark your calendars and come protect your health in November. And lastly, as we said last week, we're pleased to share that we are moving towards opening a pharmacy in our community. The Tillamook County Board of County Commissioners approved a lease agreement for a building at 800 Main Avenue in downtown Tillamook for a future Tillamook County Community Health Center pharmacy and adjoining clinical services. Next, we're going to be working on a contract with a professional pharmacy provider for pharmacy services at that location. which is expected to go toward the Board of County Commissioners in the coming weeks for consideration and approval. The goal is to open this pharmacy by spring 2025 as an additional resource to support people in Tillamook County in meeting their medication needs. And that's our update from the Health Department. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Well, again, the pharmacy is very exciting information, and thanks for sharing all those messages. Do we have any questions for Ed? If not, we can move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy and Gail Nelson. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
How are you,
one
Gail?
announcement. Good. I'm very well, thank you. And hello, Tillamook County. I have one announcement this morning, and we are pleased to announce that we have a new employee starting later this month. She's a family nurse practitioner with a specialty in pediatrics. Her name is Tonya Frederick, and during her professional career, she also, most recently, comes to us from the University of North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth, where she also was a director of nursing there. So we're very pleased and look forward to welcoming Tonya with us later this month. And that's it for me here from Wheeler.
Thank you, Gail. That is very exciting news. I know that in past community health needs assessments, the lack of specifically pediatric practitioners has been identified as just something that is lacking in Tillamook County. People who specialize in working with kids, and so it's thrilling that you've hired somebody who specializes in working with kids. Congratulations.
Thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. We do appreciate the opportunity to be able to successfully recruit Tonya. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's great. Do we have any questions for Gail? If not, we can move on to the Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Frank Hannah Williams.
Good morning, Commissioners. Frank Hannah Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. I don't have any specific information this morning. Just to say that questions regarding the agency, questions about appointments or any of our programs, you can reach us at 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. And if you have any questions, I can answer them. I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Frank this morning? If not, we can move on to the Sheriff's Office. Do we have Sheriff Brown with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am here.
Good morning.
So I'm going to give my report a little bit different. I'm going to go with stuff from last month and things we're looking forward to this month, and then I'll go with the stats at the end. Last month, we had the Women in Law Enforcement event, or the Women of the Sheriff's Office event. Our audience was small, but it was very engaged. I would consider it successful. Being able to hear the stories from our deputies that actually presented was actually very great. I've known most of them for quite a few years, but still hearing their stories was impactful even for me. So it was a good event, in my opinion, celebrating and hopefully encouraging or inspiring others that may be interested in the field of law enforcement. So that was a good event. And this month coming up, we have openings still for our facility, both on patrol and corrections. We should be having a support staff opening for records clerk coming up pretty soon, if it's not already open. We had interviews recently for both criminal and corrections, and we passed out background packets to 2 people, one for each division. So hopefully those will pan out, and we can start the long process of working towards maybe getting somebody hired. And I think that that's about it. We're kind of coming into the winter time where things are slowing down a little bit. What I can say is it's been bow season for both deer and elk, which, is not as often hunted as heavily as your normal general season. So this weekend is general deer season opening. And the reason that's important is because it usually brings in a lot of people from other areas because we have such phenomenal hunting opportunities here. So just be careful and be aware. Obviously you want to make sure that you're paying very close attention when you're driving, and take your time and enjoy the drive. Now to get to our stats, I kind of have a snapshot of the normal ones I like to give. For the month of September, we handled a total of 1,721 calls for service. Comparing that to 2023, the month of September, it was 1,488, so 1,488. So we are roughly 250 calls for services higher. But then when you compare that to the month of August, which of course was one of the last month of summer, there was 2,015, so we're down roughly 300 calls from the month of August. So we had 6 assault calls that we responded to. We responded to 28 burglary or theft type calls. We had 39 CAMI calls, and as a reminder, CAMI has to do with child neglect or child abuse. That's a staggering number that we don't like to see. That's more than one a day. We responded to 27 disturbances, and we had 43 motor vehicle accidents or recreational accidents. That's down from the month of August where we had 55. We had 288 traffic stops in the month of September, which is actually an increase from the month of August of 223. And the reason for that is when you start seeing the calls for service come down a little bit, you're able to have self-initiated activities such as traffic stops. It's proactive policing. Have those numbers increase because you have a little bit of free time to be able to actually do that proactive policing and work towards getting people to slow down and be safer on the roads. We had 68 criminal cases forwarded, and we had 28 arrests in the month of September. Now, I want to say that for the arrests and the cases, that number could actually be slightly lower because we're so close to the month ending that things that happened over the weekend may not be entered into the computer yet. So the actual numbers could be slightly higher. We had a new stat that I wanted to let everybody know, just because a lot of people may not realize we respond to these type of calls, is we responded to 34 alarm calls. And what that is a home alarm, a business alarm, anything of that nature. And those calls come into dispatch and they get sent over to us. And then we respond accordingly, depending on the type of call. So we did have 34 of those. Again, that's an average of just over one a day. And kind of talking about the proactive or self-initiated activity that traffic stops would fall under. We had 81 business checks, and the business checks are when a deputy, generally only night shift, will go at random times in the evening to check on a business, walk around, make sure it's secure, and then leave a little business card saying that we've been here, your premise is secure. We try to do that to show the businesses in the communities that we're watching and trying to proactively keep criminal activity at a minimum. The other thing that we have done, which is actually a mandate by law, we have to provide civil service, which is anything from subpoenas to collections, restraining orders, stalking orders, a whole different list of things that could be, but we are required by law to provide civil service. And this month we had 192 civil service attempts. I don't know exactly, we don't have a way of tracking how many were successful, but what that means is we go and we attempt to serve those papers. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not, but we did have 192 attempts for the month of September. Those are all the stats that I have, and I can take any questions.
Thank you, Sheriff, for that very interesting report. The numbers are fascinating and certainly high. Hey, I'm wondering if because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I'm wondering if next month you could bring numbers for domestic violence, sexual assault calls.
I can absolutely try to get those numbers. I have to work with our detectives. We have different reporting system because not every disturbance or every assault qualifies as domestic violence. So I would have to pull those, and depending on the timing of when the end of the month is, I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull those in time, but I will absolutely work on that. And if I can't get them in the November report, I can certainly work towards getting them for the December report.
That would be great. Yeah, I would love it if there's a way that we could just bring awareness to that issue by talking about the numbers. That would be great.
Yeah, I can definitely work on that. I might ask that you send me a reminder email just in case, but and actually that is a very good point. You might actually see our deputies this month in October wearing pink or purple ribbons or undershirts under our uniform shirts, and to kind of help bring awareness to both domestic violence, and I believe it's also Cancer Awareness Month. And so we try to wear those to show our support.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did see a sheriff's office employee in the courthouse with something pink on, and I didn't realize it was because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. The two are both in the same month, and so we give our deputies the option of wearing either color. A lot of them you'll see wearing a pink or purple undershirt, again showing our support.
Thank you. Well, it means a lot. Thanks. Any questions for the sheriff? If not, we can move on to the Oregon Department of Transportation. Do we have Bill Jablonski with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioner Bell. Yes, I am here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tillamook County. Bill Jablonski with the Oregon Department of Transportation, the Erie manager here based in Astoria. Got a few updates for the county this morning. First of all, ongoing is our repairs on the DeCarney Creek Bridge. That's the bridge that's in Oswald West State Park, just north of Manzanita. We're expecting to have single enclosures for the next 3 weeks. Those will be manned 24/7. That's a way for us to be able to repair that sidewalk and guardrail that was damaged earlier this summer. The work in Garibaldi under construction is moving smoothly. We're seeing some utility work and some flat work as far as concrete goes for this fall. That contractor is expected to be finished with that project, including the paving in 2025. They give us a 3-week look ahead every 3 weeks, so we find out what we're going to be doing. So I'll certainly report more as we get closer to any kind of paving, which we expect to be next summer. It's about that time again. It's going to be winter soon, and ODOT is hosting its winter operations meeting. It's going to be this month on October 24th. It is an in-person only meeting in Astoria. We also have invited our partners with Tillamook, Clatsop, Washington County, and Columbia County, our first responders, our city and county folks, our school districts, law enforcement, et cetera, those folks who have an interest in sharing contact information. Also, we do a presentation on the weather outlook for this winter coming up. We get our crystal ball out and see what we can expect, and we also update everyone with what ODOT's plan is as far as coverage of the roads and where the plows will be out. We kind of share our winter schedule, which will most likely be kicking in the early part of November. The Northwest Act is meeting this month as well, too. The Northwest Area Commission on Transportation meets October 10th. It's a Thursday. This meeting is in the city of Banks at the fire department there on Main Street. It is in person with a virtual option, and I will send a link to Tillamook County for both of the Winter Ops meeting, October 24th, and also the Northwest Act meeting for October 10th for folks who might want more information or how to attend and provide public comment during those meetings. ODOT is continuing to work and support Tillamook County on their lane closure there on Sand Lake Road, and also on the 2 bridges that we have going under construction from Miami Foley. And checking my notes here, and that's seems to be all the updates I have for this month. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Bill. And thanks for joining us once a month. It's really helpful.
Oh, my pleasure.
Do we have any questions for Bill? Well, if not, we'll say thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Let's move on to the emergency management. Randy Thorpe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
First thing, I just wanted to expand a little bit about the Miami Foley Road closure. That will start today and run through October 4th. They're working on that bridge in that area to make it more permanent than just being a temporary. The contractor will be installing the foundation system for that bridge, and the full closure is just necessary again because of the size of the equipment. But the road will reopen with an asphalt surface once it is completed. And the contractors will do their best to keep that closure to a minimum, but again, expect that from today through Friday evening that road will be closed. And we've been told that there is going to be no more additional road closures this fall or winter. So additional bridge work on county maintained roads will start again in the summer and spring of 2025. And just remember, it's never too early to be prepared for the upcoming rainy season. Yes, it does rain in Tillamook County during the winter. So be sure to check weather reports. So you'll have some advance notice of any excess rain and possible flooding. Also, good time to be prepared for those storms that could cause some power outages again through this winter. And with the power outages, make sure that you go to the Tillamook People's Utility District webpage and sign up for their Nixle alerts. It's really great to get those because it'll alert you where those outages are, and they do send out updates. So that's a really great alerting system that they've got set up. So anyway, but the weather looks really nice this week, so get out and enjoy it and before those rains start to come. And that's all I have, Commissioner.
Thank you, Randy. Hey, do you want to say something about the Great American Shakeout?
Oh, of course we do. What we're doing is our great volunteer preparedness groups throughout the county, is commonly known as the TC4 group. They are, again, going to be planning the basically a tsunami evacuation drill in conjunction with the Great American Shakeout on October 17th. So in order to do that, we're going to do it countywide. We're going to do a lot like we did last year, and hopefully we'll get a lot more participants to do that. They'll have people at the different assembly sites taking notes and talking to the people that came and getting some information on those evacuation routes to see if they're a good route or if they are overgrown with the wonderful blackberry bushes. And we also, during that time, we're going to be testing the interoperability communications throughout the county, and that's with the GMRS radios, the local two-way radios, and the ham radio system within the county. So that'll be really great. And again, I will be sending out a message through Everbridge alerting system about a week before that, just warning you that I will be sending out a test message that day. So when you get that test message on the 17th, it will say this is only a drill, but it will be worded such as what I would send out if there was actually a earthquake and tsunami hitting this area. So again, that tests out that alerting system to see how well that went out and if it was how well it was received out there. So it's a great opportunity. So after you drop, cover, and hold, get up and head to your nearest high ground. And That's about it, Commissioner.
Thank you, Randy. I've certainly been thinking about emergency preparedness and response in our community as we have watched the devastating effects of Hurricane Helene on the other coast and in the interior, and thinking about just how fast things happen, and in particular, I've been thinking about the North Carolina region where all of the roads were out and they can't get to people, and there are people they still can't get to, and there are parallels for what would happen here in extreme emergency with road outages and isolated communities, et cetera. And so I really urge people to take to heart emergency preparedness, be prepared, have a go bag, practice your tsunami evacuation route if you live or work in the tsunami zone, because once a year of practicing our evacuations is better than nothing. It's probably not enough, but it's certainly better than nothing. We all need to know where those routes are, know how long it's going to take us to get up them, know if they're obscured by blackberries, for example. We need to know. So please, if you're in a tsunami evacuation zone, please plan to practice your evacuation on the 17th, and I urge everyone to be thinking about preparedness and what you can do, having a family plan, what you can do for you and your family to be prepared the next time, God forbid, we have a serious emergency. So any questions for Randy? If not, we can move on to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Olson, would you like to lead us off?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Commissioner. A couple of things this morning. First of all, last Friday afternoon late, we had a little ribbon cutting ceremony at Cape Fawanda. And as many people know, it was under construction, actually a pretty heavy-duty rebuild, a new parking lot, new restrooms, a drainage system, a lot of security measures, addition of electric charging stations, and quite a bit more. And it took quite a while, a long time in planning, a long time in coming, but now it's all done. Everything's in working order, and it's really quite attractive. And if you haven't been down that way lately, you probably should. I would also point out that already there's been a tiny bit of vandalism at the restroom, but I suppose that's to be expected. But nonetheless, it's now very, very nice, and the project will continue on. It goes down Cape Fawanda Drive, and there'll be some interior changes, some open spaces, additional parking as you get down towards the bridge, the Beachy Bridge. And there's some design work still being done on that intersection and how it will interface with Sunset. And then the trail will continue on down clear to Bob Schraub Park. So lots more to come on that, but phase one is done and done rather well. And I'll mention our Chief of Staff, Rachel Haggerty, who oversaw that project the whole way and did really an outstanding job, because like any construction project, there are things that go wrong and things that are unforeseen. And she managed to fold all that in and get her done. So good for the county and good for the citizens as well. Second thing I'll mention, I've spoken several times about the ocean energy and the proposed windmills that would be on the southern Oregon coast, but no doubt working their way up our direction. Well, it turns out of the 5 companies that were expected to submit bids to the federal government, 4 of them dropped out pretty much at the last minute. The bids were expected to be received in mid-October. 4 of the 5 have withdrawn, leaving only 1. So the government said, well, we can't do it with 1 and it wouldn't necessarily be competitive. And so they postponed the whole project, which I would say is good news in a way, although I'm sure it will come back. But the issues that the county, Tillamook County, had identified had to do with a whole variety of things, including marine life and vegetation and the fishing fleets, the undersea cables, What happens in the event of failure? Is there financial strength in the companies if they go broke? And how will all those things be handled, including weather radar and navigation? And there were so many unanswered questions. The county sent a letter to the governor asking her to intervene and at least ask for some time to sort all that out. Well, on a parallel track, this other thing happened, and now the feds have backed off. So we don't know if it's going to be re-advertised in the spring or they'll hold out a year. I guess it all depends on the conditions of the market and these companies that would have shown interest. So more to come on that one. A couple of other things. We have a candidates forum in Pacific City today at 12 noon. It'll go till about 2 or maybe a little later. And we'll be invited all the candidates who will be from our area on the fall ballot. And we have both the sheriff and the county clerk, both of whom are unopposed. And but they've both indicated that they will be there and take some questions and talk about the office. Then we have candidates for the southernmost district in Tillamook PUD. Both those candidates have indicated they'll be there as well. And then finally, we have 2 candidates for House District 32 in the Oregon House of Representatives. And again, both of those have indicated they'll be there. So it's going to be a lively discussion, lots of questions and answers, time for all of that. And we'll also go into a little bit of a discussion about some of the ballot measures. The state itself has 5 ballot measures before the voters, and we'll talk a little bit about those, some of the pros and cons. And then we'll also have an opportunity to talk about the radio bond, which Tillamook County has put before the voters. And that will probably fill 2 hours rather easily because there's a lot of subject matter. And we usually get somewhere between 35 and 50 people at these things. And it's really a wonderful time to talk one-on-one with the prospective candidates and ask them the hard questions. And so if you got a couple of hours around lunchtime today, come on down to the Kiowanda Community Center. We have another meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, and that is facilitated by the county. I'll run the meeting, but it's actually the U.S. Forest Service, and they're going to talk about a pretty good-sized network of trails they're proposing for Forest Service, federal property, in the South Tillamook County area, primarily the Siuslaw National Forest. And then there's quite a number of citizens. I've heard from several, and there's at least 2 groups, one that's, I think, somewhat in favor of all this, and then there's another that doesn't think it's been well planned or thought out, and perhaps there are a lot of security issues, traffic issues, and those kinds of things. So this will be a community discussion for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours this evening, again at the Kiowanda Community Center. So again, if you're a trail bike rider or you just want to know what's going on in your backyard, quite literally, come to the meeting tonight, no charge, of course, and you'll hear directly from the people who are planning these things and from the people who have a series of questions. So a good community meeting, you put everybody in the same room and sort it out if you can. And should be a very civil meeting with lots of concerned people and then the Forest Service itself. And so you can come tonight, 6 o'clock, and probably be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I think that's what's going on in South County as of today. I could talk more about our radio bond, but I think maybe I'll hold that off one more week because the ballots don't come out till the 16th. But it does deserve a little more attention. So maybe next week on that one, Commissioner. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hey, is there going to be a remote option for folks to attend the Candidates Forum in Pacific City today?
Well, I hope so. We're planning on that, and they had to make some changes to the system. The newly installed system made it a little more difficult. So I'm going to say maybe. That's the best answer I can give you here at 8:45 in the morning.
Fair enough. And if there is, where should people check to find out how to tune in?
You could go to the Chamber's website or maybe the Kiowanda Community Center's website. We'll see if we get a link up on that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thanks for doing that. I know I wish I could go. I can't. Maybe I can check in remotely if that option is available. But I always hear from people how much they appreciate the Pacific City Forum. So thank you for taking the leadership on that, and the chamber.
Well, you're welcome. Tune in if you can.
All right, thank you. And let's move on to Commissioner Scar.
Thank you. Good morning again. A couple things today. I just wanted to talk. This weekend, I had the chance to go and hike one more section of the Wilson River Trail. And I don't know how many people in our community realize how many sections of that Wilson River Trail there actually are. We talk a lot about our forests and we talk a lot about harvest, but there's also a huge amount of recreation that takes place in the Tillamook State Forest, and the Wilson River Trail is one of the key pieces for that. Most of the time you see everybody hanging out at the footbridge. It's people turning in, turning out. It's always a little frightening as you're trying to go by there in the summer. But the trail goes all the way from Keenan Creek up to Elk Creek. And in fact, there's another section that is in the process of being built that goes further east from Elk Creek as well. So great recreation facility in our community. Just wanted to take a minute to highlight that. I sit on the board for the State Forest Trust of Oregon, which is a nonprofit that stands alongside the Oregon Department of Forestry and raises funds specifically to help maintain and increase these tourism facilities in our forests. So it's an important balance when we talk about greatest permanent value. Recreation is also in our forest. So I encourage everyone to get out there, take a walk along the trail. It's an absolutely fabulous way to see our forest. So just a little commercial there for our forest and our trail. I've spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks. It feels like working on internal work here at the county. I think you all know that in addition to the outward work that you see us doing as commissioners, we are also the CEO of the county and have lots of great internal processes that we're engaged in. One of those has been our strategic planning process. And I'm really excited because tomorrow at our regular Board of Commissioners meeting, we will be adopting our strategic plan. The strategic plan has been a long-term planning process. I think we've been at it for certainly over a year, but we have some really good work and just really excited about where this plan is going to take us. So I invite everyone to tune in and join us tomorrow if you can at our commissioner meeting. If you can't, you can always watch the recording either through our website or through Jane Scott's TCTV online. So if you can be with us, that's great. If you can't, please check out the recording, and we will be talking more about the strategic plan and specifically what is in it and where we're going. But I'll give you just a quick highlight of that. We are working very diligently, as you know, on the financial issues of the county, on the budget, on financial planning, those pieces. We're also working on policies and procedures within the county that lead to greater efficiency and effectiveness. All of those pieces are inside the strategic plan and have a little bit more meat on the bones if you read the plan itself, which is linked to our agenda on our website as well. So I'll call that just a little bit of a teaser, certainly more to come on that, but really important work. Additionally, yesterday, all three commissioners spent the afternoon in executive session interviewing for an information services director. We have our fingers crossed that we will have a new director for that department soon. Lots happening. Upcoming things today, I have the opportunity to go out and do a little walking on the Salmonberry Trail with Lisa Sumption, who is the director of the Oregon Parks Department. We're going to talk a little bit about the potential partnership between the county and the state as we look at developing specific pieces of that trail and just really get some eyes on how it looks up in North Tillamook County. So I'm excited for that conversation. And then the last thing I'll highlight is, as I always do, the Housing Commission is coming up for the month. It is always on the first Thursday from 9 to 11. You have the opportunity of joining us in the boardroom at the Port of Tillamook Bay, or you can go to the Community Development Department webpage and find the online link, and you can join us from the comfort of your home or office. So we love to have people join us with the Housing Commission and look forward to seeing some of you there tomorrow. With that, Commissioner Bell, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to mention that I was out and about early this morning for a meeting, so I pulled into the Port of Garibaldi for this meeting that we're on right this second, and I'm watching them move the giant jetty rocks. And if you haven't been out here to check out this operation, you might be interested, because this sort of thing is fascinating to me. So I'm watching these giant earth-moving equipment move the jetty rocks. Some of them are as big as small cars. It's really very interesting. And it's a gorgeous day. So if you have a chance, get out to the Porto Garibaldi and watch them move some jetty rock and have some lunch and walk around on the docks. It's really pretty delightful. We are lucky with this weather. And speaking of fishing, I have a friend who is visiting me this week using my house as fish camp, from somebody from the Valley. And so he's been there. His fiance was there with him this weekend, and it's very interesting to hear him come in with his fish reports, because the rivers are full of native coho. And so yesterday he told me that he has landed, hooked and released 16 native coho. He has yet to catch a fish that he can keep, but he's caught a couple crab. But I'm very interested in this. I'm very interested in the fact that at least the Nehalem River is full of native coho, which of course, we're embroiled in this battle, for this endangered species battle with FEMA about protecting native coho. And the river is completely full of native coho, and people aren't catching any. They're not catching any hatchery fish, fin clip fish, at least. My friend isn't, and he didn't see anybody catching anything. They're only catching native. So it's very good news that the native coho run in our area is recovering. And I hope that someone is measuring that. I also wanted to mention that we had, at our Economic Development Council meeting last week, Sarah Absher from the Department of Community Development joined us to talk to the EDC board, Economic Development Council's EDC board, about the FEMA biological opinion and what's happening with that now. Sarah is doing an amazing job of educating the public, letting people know, letting all of she's visited so many groups, including, she was at the Bay City over the weekend. They had an open house meeting. I think it was on Saturday afternoon, to educate the public about this issue. And so she's just doing an outstanding job getting around, talking to people about this and where we're at now and what the next steps are. And she will be at our board briefing tomorrow afternoon, so that's Wednesday afternoon at 2:00, to give the commissioners an update. And that meeting is open to the public. If folks are interested in what's happening with that now, I encourage them to either join us in person or online. You can go to our website, to the Commissioner's landing page. You can find the link for the board briefing Wednesday at 2:00 to hear the latest on that issue. And it's really, it's very serious, and people need to understand what's happening with it. And so more to come on that. We've been talking about it for years, but we're in the action phase now. So please join us online. If you've been to our meetings, you know that our meeting room is rather small. So you're welcome to come in person, but I also encourage people to take advantage of the online option. Wednesday at 2:00 to hear Sarah Absher talk about that. We had an interesting hearing yesterday that involved Oregon Parks and Rec Department and the Nehalem Bay State Park. They have a plan for upgrading their facility, providing more accessibility, more parking for the boat launch, and another loop for camping in the future. That won't be in phase 1. And that work will be moving forward. A concerned citizen had filed an appeal about safety issues. And so, I'm mentioning it because it was just a really good process. And out of it, it wasn't adversarial, and out of it came the real conclusion and commitment to everyone to working together, excuse me, to provide greater safety. So my thanks to everyone who is involved in that hearing, and in particular to the petitioner for for elevating the issue, for raising the issue and asking all of the responsible parties, which include Oregon Parks and Rec and the county because it's our road, and the city of Manzanita, et cetera, to come together to work on safety issues. So I thought the outcome was excellent, and everyone agrees that we love Nehalem Bay State Park and are encouraged to see their improvements and the things that they want to do there. They have a really exciting plan. So I thought it was a great process, and I thank everyone who is involved. And let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, speaking of parks, last week I got to go to the end of season barbecue for Tillamook County Parks employees and volunteers, and it was lovely. And our parks employees work so hard during the summer to keep things going, to be good stewards, to practice excellent customer service, to take care of, if you think about, there are over 300 campsites at Barview Jetty Campground alone, and we have 6 campgrounds. And so Barview Jetty in the summer is bigger than most of our small cities. And so, they just do a great job. And this season is the season where people can breathe a sigh of relief and relax. And I just want to applaud their excellent work through the summer. They did a great job. And with that, I'm going to wrap up and go on to the city of Manzanita. Do we have Mayor Stock with us?
You do, Commissioner Bell. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, good morning.
Great. Good morning to everyone. I'd start out with just 2 brief updates from the city and then a couple of thank yous I wanted to extend. So you've heard me talk repeatedly on this call over the last almost year now about our upcoming work and our comprehensive plan, which is basically not a complete overhaul, near a complete overhaul of that plan, which has not been meaningfully changed for many, many years now. So we're very pleased to announce that we'll be hitting another milestone in that work, which will be an October 28th community workshop. It'll be October 28th, starting at 5:30 at our local Pine Grove meeting place. We will be focused on housing. We deliberately chose that part of the goals for the state that we have to deal with in regards to a comprehensive plan. We chose housing first because we are currently not in compliance with the state law, and this is our plan to understand what that means for the community, and then for the community and the city council to help move that forward. So there's been a tremendous amount of work and preparation that's gone into getting ready for this workshop, background information, assessment that the city needed to do with the help of our excellent consultants, and also the beginning of community education and awareness on this. So we're very pleased, and I'll be probably talking about that every week between now and the end of October. Also, for people who are interested and would like to learn more, that later this week there will be an online survey that's tied to our comprehensive planning efforts. That'll be available on the city's website, and we encourage everyone to to participate in that. So those are 2 things coming up as it relates to the comprehensive plan. I'd like to extend some thanks to Mayor Leanne Welch from Bay City. I did go to the session that Bay City hosted with Sarah Absher, who did a very good job of presenting this FEMA biological opinion status and what that means for the county. I will say, honestly, I came in with only a small bit of understanding about what that actually means. It's not directly relevant to the city of Manzanita, but it's relevant to all of our neighbors. And I really personally wanted to learn more. And she did a great job of encapsulating years and years worth of work and meetings and lawsuits and information. And anyway, she did a great job. And I wanted to particularly thank Mayor Welch in Bay City, because she is always very open and inclusive when she has or hosts a community meeting. She always makes sure that neighboring communities and folks know about that. And I felt very welcomed there and was really glad to get the update. And my final thank you is to the commissioners who, as Commissioner Bell mentioned, were in a land use hearing that was not the city of Manzanita was not directly connected with that, but because we are a big part of the people moving to and fro from the state park, and it was a Manzanita citizen who raised the petition and did an excellent job of preparing for this appeal. I wanted to say thank you to everyone involved, and I would add to Commissioner Bell's comment that this is also an education process. It was, for a few people involved with this, it was their very first time of even hearing the word LUBA. And I think the commissioners did a great job of understanding the significance of getting to a LUBA appeal. But there was a lot of education that goes on. People, and I would include myself in this as a relative newcomer, people are always learning about these processes and what's a normal process and what isn't. And it's often far more complicated and takes longer than people would expect. So I appreciate how the commissioners handled that meeting yesterday, and I'm very much looking forward to some cooperative work, I think led by Chris Laity of Tillamook County staff to address the concerns that were raised. So thank you very much. That's it from Manzanita.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for your report. Do we have anyone with us from Nehalem or Wheeler? How about Rockaway Beach?
Excuse me. Good morning. Charles McNeely, Mayor of Rockaway Beach. Did I get myself up?
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning.
Well, I'm happy to announce construction has commenced on the Wayside Beach Access Project. Really, really good news from the project team, because they now believe the site conditions will allow the slope of the ramp to be reduced enough to comply with American with Disabilities Act standards. So not only will this project improve beach accessibility, the access will meet ADA standards. Next, we held our strategic plan open house. It was well attended with a plethora of opinions and desires shared in a collegial collaborative atmosphere. Our staff leadership team then worked with SSW Consulting at a strategic plan action planning workshop. Staff reviewed the engagement results related to each goal, discussed current and future city work plans, developed clear outcomes for the goals, and identified actions that will support those outcomes. SSW will update City Council and our community on their work at our October City Council meeting. After that, there will be a public review process. Our fire department is wrapping up pre-fire planning for many of our local businesses. Pre-fire planning is an important part of preparing for a fire or emergency. A pre-plan provides emergency services with information about a property so a more efficient and effective operation can be conducted, meaning less property damage and a better chance of successful rescues. Firefighter Bose worked with the summer program staff on much of the data collection for this. My thank you goes out to those folks. And then Tillamook Coast Visitors Association Executive Director Nan Devlin submitted a letter to the Headlight Herald. Her letter detailed their collaborative success with community leaders in enhancing local jurisdictions through tourism management. Kudos to our community leaders who work to attract tourists and make the tourist experience a positive one. And then I'll just end by my shout out and thank you to Sheriff Josh Brown and Under Sheriff Matt Kelly. Appreciate all of their efforts to provide for public safety in our community. It is greatly appreciated by myself and our community. With that, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone? You're welcome. Do we have someone on from Garibaldi? How about Bay City?
Good morning. This is Leanne Welch from City of Bay
Good
City.
morning.
Again, has been mentioned before, Sarah Absher's done a great job at our town hall last Saturday, so I really want to thank her for coming out on a Saturday. And, we had a pretty full room here, so she's doing great work. The Bay City Emergency Volunteers, we continue to work on the Great Oregon Shakeout Drill. So for those folks in Bay City, if you're traveling through, we're going to be having a full drill at our people getting to the assembly sites, handing out some information. So I'm looking forward to people participating in the Great Oregon Shakeout. And we're also going to host a trunk or treat on October 31st here in front of Bay City, City Hall. It'll be from 5 to 7. And if you would like to participate and register your vehicle, we're going to do that by October 28th. And by next week, we'll have a link on our website of how to register. We just want to know how many vehicles will be there so that we can plan accordingly and how we're going to park these cars, as it's one of our first events. And it feels like fall. So just met with our fire chief, Chief Christensen, yesterday. There's a fire ban is still on. So people that think they want to go burn, it's still a burn ban. Our next city council meeting is Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. And Commissioner Olson will be our guest speaker. And I have a feeling he's going to be speaking about the emergency communication system that may be is on the ballot. So looking forward to him. And we are also going to be continuing our discussion on accessory dwelling units, ADUs. So we're talking about ADUs and system development charges and how to meet some of our housing needs, but yes, keep money in our SDCs so that we can afford to expand our sewer and water systems. And that is my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And thanks for mentioning the burn ban. I think after the rains, people just may have thought, oh, it must be safe to burn now. I smelled smoke in my neighborhood the other day and I thought, what, I know the burn ban is still happening. So I was just hoping it wasn't a wildfire. So thanks for mentioning that. We're still under a burn ban. Nathan George from Tillamook is not available with us today. So with that, we can conclude this meeting at 9:06 with my thanks to KTIL for broadcasting as ever. My thanks to everyone for participating and my thanks to folks for listening. Have a great day, Tillamook County.